Hi, folks. This is again Friday afternoon, and this is the second of two short videos that I'm using to just review the last few classes. I'm doing this because of the various cohorts, the remote day, the snow day, students who might be quarantining. So I just want to make sure everybody has a similar understanding of where we are in American history. So we started our major uh, theme of one theme out of the four that we're studying in American history. We're going to start off with the foundation of the 20th century. Um, and the major theme that we're working on now is this theme right here, the pursuit of equal protection for all. Now we're going to use that theme and attach historical events to that theme from the 1800s into and through the 20th century. So rather than try to do it in a chronological way, from the earliest to the latest, like a chapters in a book, we're going to take a look at the events that are happening in our world today and connect those events to the theme of equal protection, and then use the events, historical events, that brought us to 2021. We'll do the same thing with national and global expansion and influence, the Cold War, the China, Russia um, effort to compete with the United States, global trade. Um, we'll also do the same with industrial and technological advancements. And the fourth major theme is the evolution of our demographics, our population. Okay? So we started off the class by examining this uh, painting, this representation. We zeroed in on the Confederate flag and on the American flag. The two combatants, one person in a gray uniform, one person in a blue uniform, both having weapons. And we zeroed in on this represented the conflict during the Civil War, but it really continues to represent the conflict, not so much of the Civil War, but as a system of values and beliefs, a system of power and control. Who makes the decisions? Who benefits from what part of the fruits of our country? This conflict still exists in 2021, very much represented by the white supremacy movement versus the Black Lives Matter movement, equal rights in a variety of different uh, areas, whether it be sexual orientation, gender rights, whether it be equal opportunity in equal education, equal access to medical care. There's always a conflict within our country for uh, the equality of protection, the equality of access to a variety of opportunities. Um, Again, we go through those um, four major theme, more three quotes that we reviewed, and then we get into the do a little deeper dive into the pursuit of equal protection. Who's impacted? We discussed in class by systematic inequality. We define systematic as there's no law that discriminates against the person or a group of people, but it's just built into the system. I gave the example that back in the 1970s, when I went to my guidance counselor, this is like an example, and I say to my guidance counselor, I want to go into nursing. Well, back in the 70s, not many men went into nursing. And my guidance counselor would direct me away from that career choice. And she directed me away from that career choice, not because there's a law, not because uh, she felt bias towards me or evil intent towards me, but there's a systematic bias against men entering the nursing profession. It was baked in, it was systematic. The same way women have had to fight for equality in terms of corporate jobs and equal pay and being treated equally and respectfully in male dominated professions, they're battling not so much the law, but systematic discrimination. So we'll take a look at that. We'll look at the reasons why biases and prejudices continue, why the struggle for equal protection exists after 200 plus years in this nation, and then what motivates people to treat other people the way they did. In fact, we had some great discussions. We talked about who controls the nation. We talked about the power centers of our country. Traditionally, it's the white male Christian power center, and through the decades, that has expanded and contracted a little bit and expanded. People led into the circle, then excluded from the circle, but it's always a struggle. Those in power want to maintain their power. Those in control want to stay in control. And there's a constant tension between those who are sitting at the dining room table and those who want to join at the dining room table. And that's what we'll be dealing with. This slide mentions emancipation ended slavery, but not its legacy. And then we talked about how slavery really is just part of the issue. Slavery wasn't the end of slavery didn't mean the end of a value system. It just simply meant the end of one of those manifestations of the power struggle, that you could no longer own people as property. But we discuss how deep is the legacy, not of slavery, but of inequality in the culture of our nation. And that relates to everything. I say on this slide, we deal with emancipation, slavery, anti-Semitism, nativism, income inequality, immigration, unequal health care, education and employment opportunities, COVID-19 impact. These are all issues of equality and inequality. So I want to make sure that you understood that when we talk about racism and equal protection, it's not one-dimensional, it's multidimensional. And then we went into this, which is we the people. Somebody said to me, well, doesn't we the people say all men are created equal and all people, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for everybody? But what happens when the people in control define who the people are, define the rules? They say who can take advantage of the Constitution. And if it's to their advantage, they expand the group of people. If they limit the group of people and it's to their benefit, they will do so. And you can see, we'll study through Supreme Court cases, through laws, Jim Crow laws, voting restrictions, where people can live, the schools that they can go to. People in power can define who we the people are. The we the people oftentimes are us. We the people sometimes doesn't include them. Who's us and who's them? That's what we'll study. And we talked about equal protection under the law. Those are carved before under the entrance of the Supreme Court. Is that true in our country today? Is it an ideal? Is it an ideal that we can maybe reach? Or is it just simply a comfort, something that makes us feel comfortable, that we think that there's equal protection? We'll study that. And then I showed you a video, what is privilege? Now, I didn't say white privilege because privilege comes in many forms. Wealth, the language you speak, the neighborhood you live in, the schools you go to, the nation that you come from, the color of your skin, your gender. What is blank privilege? In this video, sort of represented the advantages of being privileged versus the disadvantages of being privileged. So I think in most classes we got up to this point. There may have been one or two cohorts. I think one cohort we did not get up to this point. We'll get up to that early next week. And then through the week we will do a little deeper dive. We'll take a look at the 1619 Project, how slavery shaped America, how the Black Lives Matter was formed, the politics of white supremacy. We'll take a look at how black athletes have historically fought for equal representation During my generation, there was the Olympics of the late 1960s. Some athletes that were my heroes in track raised their fist during the national anthem as a means to bring attention to inequality. In this generation, it was the bending of the knee. And then we'll get into the ramifications of the symbolism of statues and what they mean. Okay, so that is the summary of our introduction to our first major theme, equal protection. I hope it's been helpful. We'll go into more depth next week. I'll try to finish this particular issue up before the winter vacation. Remember that, as with the other class presentation, there is a organizer that I'm going to ask you to work on and to complete. It has, again, every slide, and it has every slide with my thoughts. Those are my notes. That's why I put the slide up there, and then I ask you questions. So if you can keep up with that, that would be a great thing. Okay. So one other thing, just want to make sure, and I'm going to just go over here. Just be mindful that there is a website that you can have access to. Go to the American History part of the website. That American History portion has the class calendar. That's loading right now, as you see, and has all the assignments, all the class presentations. It contains everything that we've studied in one convenient area. Okay, so I just want to remind you of that. Again, the website, and here's the calendar. If you click on American History Agenda, it shares with you what we're doing. Okay, and if you go down here, this gives you what we did during the week, and also provides you the assignments. Okay, here we go. So, have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and I will see you on Monday or Tuesday. Take care, be safe, and be good. Bye-bye.